The Su22M3 is a rank 7 squadron jet for the USSR. Let's have a look at the performance and weaponry of this attacker, and see if it's worth unlocking. The Su22M3 represents the third large modification for the fitter family. This time the plane received larger fuel tanks and a new avionics bay. You can easily recognize this plane by the enlarged hump behind the cockpit. The Su-22 designation simply represents an export version. This plane saw widespread adoption across the Warsaw Pact and among various mid-sized countries, due to its relatively cheap price and ease of maintenance. This is a bit of foreshadowing, but the plane was eventually superseded by the more advanced and more expensive MiG-27. In War Thunder, the M3 modification is represented by a new engine delivering approximately 15% more thrust, countermeasures, and access to various new loadouts. While I would normally gloss over the flight performance of an attacker, the Su-22 actually flies pretty well. Its swing wing gives it surprisingly well maneuverability. You can really catch some fighters off guard once you jettison your ordnance. Just don't try dogfighting F-5Es and Kafirs. In terms of ground pounding performance, the plane can carry a wide selection of guided and unguided weapons. When performing close air support, I recommend either the KH-25ML or the KH-23M ATGMs. The plane also comes with a ballistic computer, in case you prefer using unguided bombs and rockets for whatever reason. In air realistic battle, you can take 6 R-60s or 4 tons of bombs and 2 R-60s. That is enough bombs to knock out 2 entire bases. The Sukhoi has one major drawback when it comes to close air support. It lacks the TV guided bombs found on the MiG-27M, and the MiG also has access to a few more upgrades that may come in handy in air-to-air combat, including a better gun, all-aspect missiles, and substantially more flares. It does have one advantage over the MiG-27 in air-realistic battles: its air spawn. This can either allow you to get to bases first, and maybe catch an enemy off guard. My overall verdict on the Su-22M will be to consider it. If you don't have the air tree grinded out, this jet is a good choice to get a top-tier close air support plane for ground battles. It has excellent ground attack potential, and at the same time, it is capable of defending itself against enemy aviation, thanks to the inclusion of the R-60s. The Squadron Su-22 is also an upgrade over its tech tree cousin, but those who have the Su-17 have no need to rush for it, as the improvements are relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. However, the Su-22 is more or less redundant when you have access to the MiG-27, as that plane simply outclasses this plane in almost every way. It has better flight performance, all-aspect missiles, and more flares. TLDR, if you have the MiG-27, skip this plane.